Hello, Mother. You asked what AI is. It's a pretty big topic, so we're going to need at least like 2 minutes. To understand why AI is so unique and how it works at all, you need to understand how it used to work. And I'd say that our old school programming was a lot like dog training. So, Marty, my dog, for the uninitiated, is like a little bit smart. Not dumb, but he's not real smart. And so if you say, hey, Marty, lie down, he could do that. And if you said, hey, Marty, sit, he can sit. Marty, where's your toy? Get his toy. But if you say pretty much anything else, he has no idea what you're saying. So that's like programming. When you are programming, you would have to guess what your user, the human, might say. And if you say something that the program was not programmed for, it is going to look for the closest answer it can that it knows. If you say, what's the best toy to buy for kids, Marty? He would say, toy, got it. You might say, it's a computer. Why don't we just teach it more stuff? We can teach it as much as we want and it'll remember. They tried that for a long time. If you remember the old game King's Quest that I used to play on the computer with Dad sometimes, and we would sit there and we would have to type in what we wanted our character to do. These people spent months or years trying to figure out everything that some nerdy little kid and his dad might type in every scene. This one we might have typed in, give the king some water, he looks really old. Or ask the king what we should do next. Or try to pull that banner off the wall. Like anything to try and find a clue. And half of them just said, you can't do that right now. Because they just hadn't programmed in that option. It became unsustainable because you can never predict everything. So AI tries to think more like a human. Instead of just looking for basic words and doing what it knows how to do, it tries to understand you. So first thing it has to do is parse out the question or the prompt. Here we said, what is a good toy to buy for kids? It strips out all the junk that it doesn't need, like is and a, and it said the important words here are buy kids toy. And it classifies those words and does a few other things. Then it tries to understand what the intent is. Well, you're asking a question here. It seems like you want a recommendation for something. So it starts with that base of knowledge. Then it searches through its knowledge. Like, what does it know? And it looks for this information. Some of them do search the web if you tell it to, some by default. But for a lot of them, they are just looking at what they have been trained on, what they already know. The reason it knows everything is because these models have just gotten so enormous that they are unfathomable. One of them, as you see here, was 1.5 trillion words, and just imagining that is, I can't do it. Once the AI has all these search results, it can then start compiling an answer. And it typically does it a word or phrase at a time. So it would start with, here's what you asked for, here was the intent, he wants a recommendation. So I'll start with the most popular because that shows up in a lot of responses like this. Then you were talking about toy for kids, so let's say toy for kids is the whatever it found, and it goes one at a time and tries to figure out something that makes sense based on all of the source material that it has, which is a lot. That also explains why every once in a while it will just start making up something random because it got on a word that it probably wasn't supposed to and went down a weird path. In its most basic, that's how AI, large language models, work.